Hello there, welcome back. Today I'm going to review Star Trek The Undiscovered Country from 1991. And I've come to the end of my time with the original crew of the Enterprise. William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, and co. Uhura, Chekhov, Sulu, Bones, Scotty, and all like the other reoccurring sort of smaller roles that we see in the original series and or the films. The sixth and final film that the original actors who made Star Trek what it is and made it famous and started this whole following that still goes on today, 60 years later. 60 years? Regardless, this is the sixth film and it's the last one. And it was actually directed by William Shatner himself. I think Leonard Nimoy, who plays Spock, had directed two of the films, maybe three and four. And Leonard Nimoy also like helped with a script, with a screenplay for a few of them as well. And William Shatner wanted in on the action. And I could be wrong, but is this the only film William Shatner directed? I can see why. Um, but yeah, he directs this, and like I can't really comment on like the direction of the film. I guess I can. I can't critique it too much because I didn't think it was terrible, but it's not a great film, and it's not very cinematic either. Like for it to be the sixth film, you would hope it goes out in like a blaze of glory. Perhaps they didn't know it was going to be the last one. Um, but it was. It's not the last time we see these characters or the actors. In fact, they do pop up again. I think in another film. But at the time they didn't know that, and this was the film that they poured all the budget into, and they accepted and they greenlit, and this script I'm not sure. So it's another disappointing entry. So five and six are disappointing. The first four I really loved. So I guess it's a matter of diminishing returns the more Star Trek films came out. But I think that was just because of the script, and potentially held back by budgetary reasons, perhaps. But if the scripts were like better and the plots were like more compelling, they would be better films. Because this one actually had stuff that I really loved in it, like more so than number five. Like yeah, so the Undiscovered Country has some bits that I really do like. And then quirky bits and bits that just like I can't believe that they put in there, and yeah, the plot. So, as we know, in the Star Trek universe at this point in time, the Klingons and they're just warring with everyone. The humans, and Starfleet have a battle on their hands of keeping the peace and whatnot. But the Klingons find themselves in a really bad spot because they have like a 50 year um, time span of when like their race or their planet or something or the other is at risk of extinction. Um, so Starfleet put like their grudge or their political grudge on hold to actually like help them and be show some humanity towards like their race, the Klingon race, and they and Spock thinks it's a great idea for Kirk to lead his crew and the Enterprise in settling some disputes so like all the arrangements can be made so that they can help the Klingons. And Kirk is like, this is like one major flaw that Kirk has, and I think it reflects like a lot of humans. In fact, where like you can't let a grudge go. Like he's had um, so many battles and wars with the Klingons that like now he just sees all Klingons as like evil, like dirt beneath his shoe, and I just don't think that's right. I think that's a massive flaw in Kirk's character. He can't be perfect, but yeah, like he blames them for the death of his son and just everything that's ever gone wrong when they fight. Um, that leads him to persecute them a little bit. He still goes along and has dinner with them. Like he invites them onto the ship, and like I really like that scene. Like because like the rest of Kirk's crew, they're all quite cordial and like inviting, and they keep the peace. But Kirk just like he begrudges sitting, opposite these Klingons that he's in his head he's meant to be enemies with. It's quite sad to see for Kirk. The way he thinks. Um, but yeah, and then things take a dramatic turn because once the Klingons go back aboard their ship, that are like you know flying in a galaxy parallel to the Enterprise, so that they can beam aboard, to and from. They get attacked. Like the Klingon ship gets attacked, seemingly from the Enterprise. The Enterprise shoots like a laser beam at them, and just destroys. Well, tears apart the Klingon ship, and then these like space people in like spacesuits, really like creepy, really cool, like ominous, silent assassins almost, but like slow because like the explosion wrecked like the anti gravity, so like everyone's floating around and blood's all like the blood is really bad by the way. Like the CGI, the special effects used for the blood is like Spike Kids 3 level of just like stupidity. I don't know if they didn't have a means of making it look good. What they went for was just like no sir, take it back please. So yeah, like this flying CGI goop is flying all over the. But while the scene is going on, I love it because it's like aside from that, these like assassins are just killing Klingons left, right, and center, and it's horrible. But like, it's really compelling because like, who's doing this? And the Enterprise are going to be blamed for it, and Kirk's going to be in the doghouse for this one. And it's going to like drive the plot forward, and we could be in store for like a really good sort of like thriller. But we're not. So yeah, that happens. Kirk's blamed. Yeah, and because like Kirk doesn't know what's going on, and he's still like he wants to help in the end. Like he's like, whoa, like I might have a grudge against you, but I will help you if you can. So him and Bones go aboard, try and like give aid to the Klingons. They can't. People die, so they're arrested, and they're sent to like a gulag, like a prison, like a Klingon prison. And there they meet like all sorts of like alien races, and they get into like some comedic sort of like disputes. It's not very well directed there. Like it's just all throwaway stuff. Not like great memorable stuff, but it's funny at the time. Um, and like they meet someone that can like help them out. This like chameleon shape shifting person. Eventually they're given like a secret way out, and it's like this arctic sort of like planet like landscape. Then he gets into the fight with the chameleon, who like turns out that like they just want Kirk. They want this chameleon wants to use Kirk's face because like she can now use Kirk's face. I don't know whether she had to touch him first or because they did have a little like smooch. So then they fight, but it's like two Kirks fighting, and at the time, so what's this 91? Um, I'm not sure how many films did that up until. I'm sure a few films did actually do that in 91, like up to 91, but like must have been quite entertaining for people watching at the time to see the two Kirks. It wasn't very well. Maybe they didn't have the technology or the means to like show both the Kirk faces like fully while they were fighting, so it was more of like rolling along in the snow and what's the point really? Yeah. Um, and aside from the plot, Sulu is now a captain of the of Excelsior that we saw in a few films back. So he's captain now. That's pretty cool. He's been promoted and he gets to lead his own ship after like being the navigator of the Enterprise for so many years. Well done to him. Great like character evolution. And like for the actor as well, it's like justice for the actor because like there was some like behind the scenes disputes between him not like getting enough screen time and wanting it, and feeling sort of like pushed away. So it's a bit of justice for George Takei, who plays Sulu. I must say I really love like the interior designs of all the spacecrafts and all like the sets we go to. Really love it. It's all fleshed out. It's all like lights. It's all flashing. It's all like white, gleaming, different colors. Yeah, really like that part. Mm, yeah, so once there's like so once Kirk is trying to escape and whatnot, we cut to like other scenes where like Spock and Scotty and like Chekhov, they're all on the Enterprise still, and they're trying to work out like what happened. Like they're aware that like their ship may have fired a bullet, may have fired a laser, but why did it happen? And they can't really get their heads around it because Scotty knows that like he didn't do it, and like he's usually in charge down there, isn't he, or something or the other. So anyway, they work out that like there's like some fun throwaway scene where like they go and search, they start like searching all the clothes and that, and like wardrobes. Like the whole crew on the Enterprise, all hundreds of people all searching for things. It was probably direct, like it was meant to be like pretty funny, pretty cool moment in the film, like for a lightheartedness. But I mean, it was, but again, not needed. But no, I enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun, and they found like a space boot. So then from the space boot, they work out there's blood, and then or they find blood, and then they find a space boot, and then eventually leads them to like finding out who it was. Um, and it turns out it was like this new girl that's like on board. She's a Vulcan, and like she just couldn't hold. She holds a grudge against the Klingons. And like she tries to justify her means to like Kirk and whatnot by saying like, well, like you hate them, they killed your son, and join me and we can rule the galaxy. But like by this point they're all thinking like she's just a silly girl, like please, think before you act. And like a lot of these villains, and the moral is like some people can't see past their rage, and revenge is easier than forgiveness, and that is the case here. Yeah, again, like I praise the set design, like especially like with all the costumes with the aliens and that. I think it's pretty cool to like see like a lived in world with all these different races and whatnot. It was caretaken into like how it looked and the aesthetic. Um, there were parts where there was a lot of blue. There was a lot of blue palette, like color palette. Thought it was a bit strange. Whatever reason that was for. There's a cool line by Spock. He says, "Logic is the beginning of wisdom, not the end." And this is like a real like we've already had a turning point for Spock, where like he has like evolved as a character, for better or worse. Whether people like him to stay the same or like evolve and tap more into his human side, but he officially is definitely more human now, and resonates more with like his friends and his family. Um, yeah, so like logic is the beginning of wisdom, not the end. So like you can see past just seeing the reason for it, and like then working out like why people do things, and like why you should take risks, and not just be so you know this is the be all end all. Like we do humans do things because we care, or out of anger, or out of like wanting to, not just because it should be done, or this is the easiest way, or this is the calculated just logical reason to do something. Okay. Really like the score at moments. Yeah, I really, real will praise the score. Like in this is the most memorable film for like the score and sound effects. Not necessarily sound effects, but the score, especially the music, for the past few films. In my watches of the Star Trek films. Yeah, the score is really cool in different moments because like it carries along with the scene. For certain points, like where the more thrilling bits, and then the more fun bits, and then the action orientated bits, like really accompanies those scenes really well. Really great choices there. Yeah, and on board, the Klingon vessel, it was like had like an orange tinge. I thought that was really cool. So I can't help but praise the like aesthetic. Not for the whole film, but just for like certain aspects of it. Like I said, with like the interiors of sets. Just reading here my notes. It wasn't. I'm not. It wasn't a great film. It certainly wasn't a good bowing out point after six films. Yeah, I'd much rather see. It's unfortunate because like this had great moments in that I'd like to like rewatch again. But in terms of the whole film, I would not want to watch that film again. Um, but there's moments that I will want to revisit. So it's hard. It's unfortunate. It's a shame. So as we're nearing the end of the film, it takes this whole film. It's like what, an hour and 45 minutes maybe. To like work out that like the laser beam was shot from a bird of prey that like the girl was using. Like so, she's got like a I guess like a renegade team of people that are on board with her idea of like starting war again and killing these Klingons. Um, so like she has like a bird of prey, like the Klingon vessel, like a different one. This is, but it has a cloaking device on it, like they all have. But you're not really, like technology in Star Trek means that like with the birds of prey, you can't shoot lasers while the invisibility cloak is on, like the cloaking device. But they've somehow managed to do so, so that they've shot the laser beam while the bird of prey was invisible behind the Enterprise. Shot the laser beam, hit the bird of prey Klingon ship, like where they had the dinner scene, and that's why everyone thought it was the Enterprise because like the laser beam come out of nowhere, but it was like underneath, kind of behind the ship, and that's why. So yeah, Spock figures that out, and the crew figure it out. Um, so now it all seems like it's all like there's not much tension anymore because they figured it out. Kirk's back on board the Enterprise, and it seems like they're gonna tell like the Federation, Starfleet, and the Klingons that look, listen, this is how it all happened. It wasn't us. Take it easy, guys. Let's go back to helping the Klingons before they die in 50 years. Yeah. Oh, I guess before that there was like a space battle, really cool space battle. Not like phenomenal, but like I took glee in watching that because it was pretty cool. Especially like when there was such a like downer moments and like throughout the plot. The space battle was cool. Oh yeah, because they fight the invisible bird of prey. That's it. But like one by this point, Kirk knows. Like Spock's informed him of all this, so he knows that the enemy has like a bird of prey that is invisible that can shoot, but the enemy does not know that Kirk knows. And this is like a reoccurring thing in like Star Trek. Kirk's quite can play chess with his enemies. So they play like a bit of cat and mouse, little dogfight in space. Kirk wins, blows their ship up with a wicked, like spot on the money shot, blows them up. And then Excelsior flies in, Sulu flies in, captaining his own ship, finishes them off with a couple laser beams. And there we go. So now we wrap up the film, and the crew have like a ceremony where like they're told that they're brilliant and they're great and thank you for saving the galaxy once more. And it's not necessarily a galaxy saving event, but they did restore balance again, and now that they can help the Klingons, where um, the real time and effort should be spent, not fighting anymore. That's the moral of the story. You can't be judging people on your own ignorance. You may have like a you may have anger for a certain person, but it shouldn't be reflected on a whole like race of people. And there's always a chance for peace, um, and looking beyond one's own ignorance. So yeah, there's one final moment of Scotty gets redemption for being for having some stupid comedic moments in the last film. There's like a sniper that's about to take out like a Starfleet like a politician that's like speaking at like some event, like talking about like the whole thing that's going on. This is like another scene that's going on elsewhere. Sorry, this is a bit jumbled, but yeah, Scotty kills the sniper, Klingon sniper. So cool little like redemptive moment for him. He's not a silly character. He's actually a competent man. He's been a professional for so many years on the Enterprise, and they all triumphantly walk up. I don't even know whether they get medals, but they're all praised and everyone's clapping them. And there we go. That's the final moment that like these guys are gonna. Well, I know of because I haven't seen the rest of the Star Trek films. So this is the final moment they're all gonna be together, and it's quite nice. It's a moment to reflect, and they're all sharing like smiles and saying their goodbyes, and then they get before the last shot of the film, there's one last act of defiance where like Starfleet recalls the Enterprise to be decommissioned once more, and so like they're all gonna have to depart the Enterprise and go their different ways. But Kirk's like, you know what? We're gonna be rebels one last time and have a little fly around the galaxy, and then we'll say goodbye. So that's it. And that's the end of my run of original original actors in the first six Star Trek films. So yeah, really enjoyed it. Can't wait to watch more. I'm now going to be moving on to Star Trek: The Next Generation, which I can't, you know, I can't wait to get stuck into that. All 170 plus episodes plus I think it's four films. So yeah, can't get enough of Star Trek at the minute. Yeah, so six films. I really enjoyed the first four. Didn't really like the last two, but there's moments to take away from both of them. More so six than five. Um, yeah. Oh, and Uhura ages like fine wine. Like the actor, she just ages like fine wine. She's brilliant. So yeah, I'm going to end the original six film run on that note. Thank you very much for watching.